of Entrepreneur Soul Coach, and I'm just waiting for the video to get aligned here, and then off we go. So just give me a moment. Cooking, here we are. Yeah, hi there. This is Sasha Sabbath of EntrepreneurSoulCoach.com, and we are on day 19 of the Radical Soul Expansion and Success 30-Day Tip Series. Today's tip for day 19 is grace-filled recovery from despair. Grace-filled grace-filled recovery from despair. But there is some discovery in there, so maybe that wasn't so much of a mistake. In any case, this tip series is dedicated to you becoming self-empowered, finding your core strength, and being able to navigate through these times that we're living in right now. And I wanted to do something that would give you some tools, some access into yourself for your success and for your personal and your professional confidence. And so this tip series has a range of techniques and exercises that assist you in coming, what I would call coming home. So if you are a person where you're finding yourself procrastinating, or you're holding yourself back, or you're really filled with some sort of self-doubt, or you are confused, or you are finding yourself waffling in some way, this tip series is going to give you some ways to start investigating and uncorking yourself, opening up the flow of energy so that you can get into action, doing the things that are part of your soul purpose path. And for those of you who are watching this who don't necessarily have a business, but you have a very strong mission, a very strong cause, if you find yourself just wanting some very strong personal development and introspection types of guidance, this tip series is perfect for you. So let's begin. First of all, to give you an idea of where we've been, because this, as I said, is the Radical Soul Expansion and Success 30-Day Tip Series. So I'll give you a little chronological tour of where we've been so far. Now, by the way, all of the replays of this tip series can be found in the private Facebook group, which is Soul. Let's see. What I'll first tell you is that there is a playlist on YouTube that also has the replays. And in the Facebook group, it is called Light Leader Power for Success and Mission Impact. And all of the replays of these tips are in Unit 14. So day number 1 was your overview. And the purpose of this tip series, which is what I'm saying, is for you to find your power, is for you to carry your light and your soul purpose and your mission through these very challenging times where you are finding a deeper sense of self and you are leading. You are leading others and helping others, in your business or just in your neighborhoods, in your households and your communities. And this tip series is accompanied with a hashtag that I made up, which is hashtag Thrive, Make Money, and Lead. So that gives you an idea of the core principles around which these tips are based. Now, day number 2 was a very important foundation technique of programming your energy field so that you can continue to follow your way to your North Star, so to speak. So no matter what is happening in the environment, you are on a resonant, vibrational, it's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes I get these visions from my guidance and it's hard to put into words, where you continue to take in what's going on in your life, however you self-correct, and you move forward to what you want. That's what programming your energy field was about. That was day 2. Day 3 was about you really having a way of grounding yourself and using your ability to have energy flow in a way that serves you instead of dilutes you, or instead of makes you become somebody else's thoughts and feelings and emotions, especially if you're sensitive, especially if you're an empath, and learning what to do to take care of yourself in a situation like that. Day 5 was our Q&A, where we reviewed days 1 and 3. Day 4 was a day off. We had a watch party that day. Day 6 was disconnecting from a toxic collective consciousness. What that means is that if you are on a certain path and you want to have certain experiences, if you are merging, if you are allowing yourself to be too influenced by situations that are toxic for you, they're not bad or wrong, they're just toxic for you, then this exercise will help you to be aware, to be responsive, to be respectful, to be receptive to what's going on, but you don't lose track of who you are, and you take your power back so that you're able to continue the way you want to continue in any given situation. Then day number 7 was an energetic flow technique, and it also was a mindset technique. So it's 2 separate techniques in this one. It's called Get Unstuck and Into Action. So there are energy flow techniques and mind flow techniques, where you are looking at how can you move from paralysis into action. Day 8 was teaching you an energy protection tool that acts like a security guard dog or a security guard that monitors and takes care of your energy field that you can create with your mind. Then we come to day number 9, which was grounding and clearing your room or your environment, so that if you're in a situation where the vibes in the room don't serve you, or the vibes are okay, but you want to bring in more light, you want to bring in more love, you want to bring in more of your telepathic messaging into a room, that's what day 9 is about. Day 10 was an intuition and energy healing manifestation technique, using your intuition, using direct, deliberate direction of energy flow, where it will accelerate you manifesting your goals. If, and this is a big if that goal truly is on your soul purpose path. Then day 11 was another review of a watch party attempt. The feature on Facebook wasn't working. So what I did was I just put all the links up for people to look at days 1 through 10, and then to ask me questions in the Facebook group there. Then we had day number 12, which was an integration of various topics where I was helping you to customize the tips to meet your particular needs, so that they aren't just academic, but they really can fit with your lifestyle, with your needs, and where you're going in life. Then we had day number 13, which was claim, design, and program your ideal day. Day number 16, we took day 14 and 15 off just to rest, just to let all this sink in, for giving people a chance to catch up. Day number 16 was taking day 13 one step further. It was claim, design, program your soul-aligned ideal week. And there was a special add-on in there where I taught you how to call upon a spirit helper or a model, some sort of mentor symbolism to help you move through that week. Then we had day number 17, which was starting on a new chapter of this series, which had to do with establishing greater inner peace by using your thoughts in a way that are useful to you. And so day number 17 was soul-aligned perception and interpretation. Soul-aligned perception and interpretation. Then we came to day 18, also part of the Inner Freedom series, compartment of this series. And this was possible spiritual growth through changing your perception and interpretation. And this was having to do with when you're right in the grips of something that's really emotionally and mentally charged, and you want to make a change, or you want to consider changing your point of view for the higher good, but you just don't know how. So that is what day 18 was about. And today we have grace-filled recovery from despair. So I hope that gives you an idea of where we've been and what's important in terms of you taking charge of your life, taking control of how you want to be, how you want to show up in any given situation, and then being able to move forward by using the power that lives within you, so that you can identify what's really stopping you and what really is going to help you start moving in the right direction for you. Okay, so that's where we've been. Now, this is where we are. I chose to do this topic because in watching the news and knowing the chaos and the pain and the fear and the confusion and the misleading aspects of what's happening right now in the country of the United States and also in different parts of the world, there is great despair. And there's also great upliftment, inspiration, and unification, and humanity rising is what I call it. The other reason that I decided to do this particular topic today is because a very dear friend of mine, a group of friends of mine who I love dearly, had a great loss in their life, and there is great despair there. And I thought, well, this is God showing me that helping people to know how to process, know how to relate to their despair would be a really good topic, because some of you may know people who are really struggling with the coronavirus right now, or they are in other ways a target to what's happening in our society. They are being victimized in some way, or their thought processes are not in favor of the greater good. This can bring despair. So I just can offer you how I approach things. I mean, that's all I can do, right? Despair can be born from many different occurrences. It could be a despair from doing your very best and just not getting the results that you need or the results that you want. And you are doing your very best. And so if you're doing your best, there's despair because, like, what should I do? What's wrong? What's wrong with me is usually where it lands ultimately. Despair can come from feeling like you're trapped in a situation and there's no way out. Despair can be, and that could be a health situation, a job situation, a relationship situation, some sort of circumstance where you just don't seem to know how to find your personal power to bust through and get away, really. Another cause for despair would be that you are wanting to bring forth something. Excuse me one second. Thanks. Despair could be that you want to bring forth something like a creative idea, a creative project, a book, a blog, a product, and you know it's there inside of you and you just can't get it out into the world. And so this could also be a form of despair. Despair can also be from tragedy, loss, ways in which we have our hearts broken. And in all these situations, or when you just look at a situation and the what it would take to turn it around is just so overwhelming and looks so impossible. And there might be tremendous injustice woven through it, where you're up against mighty, mighty, mighty systems, either in your community or in the country, in the government, in the legal system, and it is unjust. That can bring tremendous despair. So, where do you go with all this? Well, first of all, you need to not fight the emotions. You need to embrace them. You need to surrender to them. And if it means you have to go off on your own to really be authentic and give yourself space to feel your emotions, then do that. Because these emotions are part of you. Whether you like that part of you or not is secondary. They are part of you. That means that if you try to hate them, kill those emotions off, pretend like they're not there, they will come up and resurface again because they are you. What you do to process them is another story, but at least when you go to process an emotion or a collection of emotions, you are admitting that you have them. You are not judging that you have them. You are taking responsibility that you have them, and then you move on from there. So the step number one is to own them, surrender to them, embrace them. Definitely don't try to kill them off. Definitely don't pretend that they're not there. Definitely don't minimize them either. They are part of you. They are there for a reason, and they deserve to be respectfully addressed. Then the next phase, at least in my process, when I am attempting to work through difficult emotions, such as despair, depression, anger, what are some other ones? Disappointment, betrayal, abandonment, fear. These are all sub-emotions that can lead to despair. What I do from here is to ask myself the question, when I step back, or if I do a bird's eye overview, what am I seeing about the life that I have chosen, that these events would take place? What is the life that I have chosen where these events could even happen at all? Now, that doesn't mean that because these things are happening, you have every right to have horrific times because you chose them. No, it's just like I remember a long time ago, I heard a story of someone who was in the holistic industry like I am, the spiritual development and karmic development and karmic understanding kinds of industries. And somebody had cancer. And it was terrible for that individual. And somebody else was really callous and, as far as I'm concerned, way off base. And they said to a family member, not to the person who had the cancer, but to a family member, they said, well, they chose this in this lifetime. Well, they chose this, as if to flip it off as, don't be too shocked, don't be too compassionate, don't be too concerned about the suffering of this individual because on some level they chose it. Well, yes, depending upon your belief systems, they chose it. They may not have chosen the cancer, but they may have chosen the experiences or the sources that led to the cancer. But either way, one's experience requires compassion and understanding. So to just put it in a cauldron that says, well, I chose this. That is not the carte blanche for you to minimize your emotions or for anybody else to minimize your emotions. And so when you're looking from this bird's eye view or this objective view and you're asking yourself, what is the life that I have chosen? What comes from that is assessing, now that you are here at this point, do you want to continue choosing that life that would give rise to these kinds of events? Now, when you listen back to day 18 and day 17 on perception and interpretation and how you find ways of seeing through other people's eyes and changing course if you want to fuel and to fund and to go in the direction of the higher purpose of a situation that is greater than us, greater than the individual, you will see how what we're talking about today fits into that. Because when you are looking at what is the life that I chose, typically that occurs, the life that you're living, from karmas that you came in with lessons that you wanted to learn, the programming that you absorbed from birth, really, and you made choices along the way with your free will as to, what do I want to do with these experiences? Do I want to continue these experiences? Do I feel like I've had enough of these experiences? Now, is it time to draw the line in the sand and not have any more of these experiences? Or is it time for me to really skill up, study up, practice, be disciplined, and have more of these experiences and to do them even better? So you see where I'm going with this. When one talks about having chosen a certain life that would be conducive to certain experiences that did give rise to the despair, you have an opportunity to reassess if this is a despair that you could have avoided if you had chosen a different life, if you had chosen a different path. And now that you are assessing it, do you want to make those changes now? Or it could be that you are looking at these experiences and you're thinking to yourself, well, I've learned these lessons and I don't need these lessons anymore. And there doesn't necessarily have to be a big internal volcano that takes place in you. It just means that you are calmly assessing what gave rise to that despair. And did you learn enough so that you don't have to go there anymore? Another layer of reviewing the life that you're leading that gave rise to despair is to see if the choices that you made that led to this despair are actually your soul calling you forward to be even more of the greatness that you are. And this is where the real spiritual expansion takes place. Because what happens when you get to that point is you start to see that you're finding lost parts of yourself, or you're finding new parts that you didn't know you had, or you are developing parts within yourself that will make you more spiritually mature, that will make you more spiritually awake, that will give you an opportunity to go bigger in yourself as a personality, as a character, as well as what you want to bring to the world. So despair is an opportunity to stop and rethink. Now, another thing that happens with despair is a person can go right into a knee-jerk reaction, maybe into revenge, maybe into retaliation, maybe into having to hide, maybe having to run away. It all depends on the circumstance. And that's completely up to that person's free will. My hope in this particular tip is to land on these three pillars. Number one, to really embrace, accept, surrender to your emotion of despair and all the sub emotions that are driving the despair underneath, and to look at reassessing your life and reassessing you as a character. Again, today's tip really is a carryover. Hi, I'm going to answer questions at the end. So I'm so glad you're here, Lazarus Edge. I'm just in my zone. I'm so sorry, but I didn't want to ignore you. So let me get my thought back. The going forward in having these pillars have to do with you ultimately finding a way of taking responsibility and accountability for the life that you're in. If we go into a victim role, we're in real trouble. There has to be a way of finding the power to create the life that you want. There has to be. And if there really isn't, then somehow to find peace with where you're at. And that really is a spiritual boot camp as far as I'm concerned, as to how to do that. The place that I always go for myself is the place of spiritual home, of what is my soul creating for me in this lifetime. And as a human having free will, where is it that I want to go? And that goes back to day 2 of this tip series of programming your energy field. It also goes back to the previous tips about creating your ideal day and your ideal week. Despair is an emotion that can either shut you down, become bitter, rigid, angry, hate-filled, revenge-filled, retaliation-filled, or it can open up your heart. Not that you're going to be weak. I mean, I would never, ever, ever condone that. But to open up your heart to find greater forgiveness, greater compassion, greater resolve to become the best that you can be. Resolve to take whatever circumstances led to your despair, to your anguish, to your pain, to your suffering, to your fear, to your loneliness, to your disappointment, to your suffocating self-doubt. To take all of that and find in you a new you that will get born. And it is going to be your choice if that new you is going to just want to plow over everybody and plan and plot and have the rest of your incarnation trying to get even, or some version of that. Or is it going to be you finding where your spiritual heart leads you? And that comes from meditation, your spiritual mentors. It comes from energy healing, where you go to somebody like myself to identify the blocks and the soul wounds and the things that you came into your lifetime to address. And all of that is because you have free will in this lifetime, and that you are able to find a strength of courage and commitment to not be a victim, and to not be someone who's just going to knee-jerk their way through life, but to create you that you want to be, and to do your best to create the circumstances that will allow your soul to flourish, to expand, because it's connected to a sense of soul purpose and mission. So what I want to leave here before I go into the questions and looking at the chat here, what I want to leave is my caring for all of you. God knows I have had excruciating, painful things in my life and stressors that would crush most people. And what it's done for me is what I've said in this video. I go deep inside and I do my best to find who I am, to see if how I'm showing up is who I want to be. And what can I do? What techniques can I learn? What visualizations, what energy exercises can I do so that my business flourishes, my relationships flourish, my health flourishes, my care of my animals flourish? What can I do? And what underlies that is a expectation that I have what it takes to do it. And that's what I want for you. If I have missed any points in this discussion, by all means, those of you who are listening to the replay and those of you who might be here on the chat, please ask me. And the other thing that I want to say is if anyone here is being touched by this particular topic and you want to talk further with me to see how I might be able to support you and help you, I will be having a link to my soul expansion and success activation complimentary assessment, and we can take it from there and see if it would be a good fit for us to talk. And if not, I will definitely make whatever recommendations I can for you. And also, if you apply what I've said here and you would like to share with me and with us so that the rest of us can benefit from your awarenesses, by all means, please put in the chat here #win and let us know what the circumstance was and what you did about it. So this is a poignant conversation. And in my other trainings, I've been more bubbly and a little more dramatic, but not with this one. This one is very tender because there is great suffering going on. And there's also great soul awakening going on. And I'm doing my part, and I am empowering you to do your part to fuel the light, to fuel the truth, to fuel this ability to stay balanced, where during the times that we have, we reach out to like-minded people who are worthy of our love, our respect, our time, our resources, and who make you feel that you are the gift that I believe you are. So thank you for listening to the training. Now I'm going to put on my glasses and see what is going on in the chat there. And thank you, Lazarus Edge, for your patience. Those of us who chose. Okay, Lazarus Edge is saying, I love Lazarus Edge. They are a group of people who are just superior human beings. And I feel very blessed to have them in my community and in my life. That's just in a little aside here to everybody who's watching. Okay, those of us who chose life in the military and understand the risk potential, though we embrace the real reasons we chose that life. Oh, there's more. Just one second. Let me read that again. Lazarus said, those of us who chose life in the military understand the risk potential, though we embrace the real reasons we chose. Yes, and that is a lot of why I have such honor and love for those who serve our country. And you served in the military. And there are so many other factors of government types of ways of fighting for our magnificent country. There is an underlying set of real reasons that are so worthy of honor and respect and dignity. Okay, now the next one you wrote here. Living the victim role puts you in a reaction mindset. Absolutely. People ultimately are treated the way they allow themselves to be treated. Very true. Flip the script. What is it that makes me a target? Get that answer. Don't bury these things. Expose, repair, and emerge victorious. All very true. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I came into this lifetime with a very severe victim script. I was a doormat through the majority of my life. A lot of it was because I had illnesses that were weakening me in horrific ways. And they really weren't detected until much, much, much later on in my adult years. And so I spent my entire life navigating, surviving, mitigating, undoing, dissolving, transmuting, and flipping a victim script. And I was a target. And so this is a very germane point that you're saying. And the truth is that when we are a victim and we give our power away, there are a couple of things that I have learned along the way that allows that to happen. Number one, we bought what was fed us. And then our path in life has the opportunity to find out who we really are, that we are not what others have projected onto us. Another victim solidifier, so to speak, or to glue victimhood in place, has to do with just being afraid of the consequences of standing up against the forces that are victimizing us, the perpetrators, that there's a fear. That fear can be very valid. And then what do you do about it? So there is a distinction between being a victim and doing what's necessary to go with the flow of a situation. It may look like being a victim, but in fact, you're being extremely strategic and you're just waiting for the right time to do the right thing for oneself. And that is called survival. That is called self-defense mechanism, self-preservation. And moving in the direction of taking a more, what's the word, passive role in situations may be the smartest thing that you could do and the most powerful thing for you to do, depending upon the circumstance in which you find yourself. Now, for business owners, hang on one second. Sorry about the bubbles at the end. Now, for business owners and people who are entrepreneurs, people who may be transitioning from corporate jobs or employee jobs, because what's happening now with the coronavirus, a lot of people are turning to what they can do at home so that they're able to survive and be useful and have compensation for their services, but they are the ones calling the shots as opposed to an employer. So the way that this particular training can fuel you is that there's a lot of despair that happens when you're a business owner. I'm a business owner. I'm a spiritual development mentor, a psychic intuitive, and a healer to help business owners and community thought leaders, and also people who are mission driven, to rise up and face whatever it takes to get your work out there, to get your gifts, your mission, your commitments out there. So the despair here really always falls under one particular umbrella. What am I supposed to learn from this? So, for instance, with business, there's a range of marketing learning curves that can have a ton of despair because you try this and you try that and you try this and you try that and you're not getting the momentum that you want. And also in wanting to find the right offer, wanting to find the right tribe, the right market. All of this can lead to tremendous despair. And the way to take that despair and shift it, transmute it, is by looking for the lesson, looking for the gift. And ultimately, once you find that lesson, or some resemblance of a lesson or some resemblance of a gift, the next step is this what I want? And that's kind of where the buck stops, right there. Is this what I want? Because if it isn't, only you have the power to change it. Without any self-judgment, because again, please remember, everybody, you came into this lifetime with lessons to learn. So allow yourself to learn them without beating yourself up, without making yourself wrong, without the self-doubt. Just humbly accept that you've got this string of experiences, and then learn techniques like what I'm teaching. And again, if anybody listening to this recording wants to talk to me further about your unique life experiences so that you can stop holding yourself back, stop being confused about what you have to offer, stop being confused about how to move forward, please let me know. Lazarus Edge, is there anything else that you want to say before I complete this? Hopefully there isn't too much of a lag and I can see your comment before I close. Let me just maybe open another screen here. And thank you for being here, Lazarus Edge. Just 1 minute. I'll see what I can find if you've got something more to say. By the way, Lazarus Edge, are you willing to say which member of your incredible family over there you are? If you would just put your name in the comment, and if not, that's okay. I'm still looking to see if I can see another question or comment from you. I have a feeling I know who that was, but I don't want to assume. Okay, I'm looking. I'm doing a refresh here. And I don't think there is anything else. Okay, so I think we're done. Those of you who are listening back to this replay, think about those aspects of your life that are bringing up despair for you. And think about what in your past might be compounding that is causing that situation again. And then see if the pieces that I've mentioned here start to bring some light. And by all means, leave your comments in this thread, and I send you my love. We'll be having another tip tomorrow. And know this, we are living in extraordinary times. Despair is normal right now. And your power and your light are there at all times. Please know that there is great love all around you. We just have to tune our dial to let it in. Sending you love. Bye for now.